Hello everyone. How we all doing? This stream is set to subscriber only mode. Subscribe to chat. We gotta get to 80k. Super close. Gotta get to 80k. Share the channel around with your buddies. Get them to subscribe. Subscribe to comment in the chat. What's up, Sickle? Channel member. Fat W. And that's the way it's gotta be. How are we all doing today? Got a new Spider-Man movie coming out very soon. Pretty exciting. I've been rewatching every Spider-Man piece of media, more or less. All the movies, some of the TV shows. Been making my way through Spider Noir, actually. Looking through hundreds of interviews for the comics, for the movies. I'm working on something pretty expansive, pretty special, I think. It'll be a 1-2 punch. It'll be power scaling and a narrative analysis, a development history, everything you can imagine. What's up, Mugen? Been doing good? Good to hear. But as always, feel free to donate. Any amount is appreciated. The more you donate, the more in-depth answer you will get to any of your power scaling, narrative analysis, or just random curiosities, any of your questions. You can also become a channel member by clicking the link in the description, which gets you access to the private Discord server. I actually watched Spider-Man 1 and 2 in there with the boys, with the members, and that was a good time. Getting multiple different perspectives. I've been watching these Spider-Man movies, taking notes, all with different sort of audiences, I guess, different perspectives. My channel members watching it with one other group, watching it with the family, to get the different vibes. As always, the channel members, the donos, that's what keeps the stream going. That's what keeps the topics flowing in. I am here as just a guy with the info. I have seen that Kakarot 4-star, yes. If you want my opinion on it, you're gonna have to donate. The more you donate, the more in-depth of a analysis. I'm glad you can make it, Sickle. I'm glad you can make it. Issa Super Wing, we might watch Spider-Man 3 tonight, you never know. But I'm doing well though, Kakarot. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Spread the word. Get the subs up. Let's get to 80k. Glad to see the latest video. So far it's settled at 70k, which is pretty good considering it's really kind of a niche topic, sort of a niche hypothetical. It's not like there was a new Arkham game. It's not like there was a new Metal Gear Solid game, but I think maybe with the Master Collection, maybe I'll change the title. Maybe I'll change up the thumbnail just slightly. and get that bumped up a bit. But like I said, with no real announcement or new game release, I should say. Very nice to see that for the latest upload. I am more than aware of the scaling of the new movie. So if you guys want to pick my brain about it, it's channel members or it's donos. For 99 cents, you will get an opinion. You will get a type of breakdown. But for 20 or above, we'll get really in the weeds. But the footage, I won't lie, and also looking at reviews, the only people who have seen the movie thus far were people that have been sort of flown out to the premiere, the red carpet premiere. So a lot of influencers that are kind of in Disney's pocket in the first place. But even still, if you look at the outlets, Variety, I think surprisingly had a pretty scathing review of the movie. And even if you look elsewhere, Discussing Film, he said the movie was very, very messy. New rock stars who saw it said he actually prefers Homecoming and says that the MCU connections were done better in No Way Home. And personally, I do not really have high opinions of those films, especially upon rewatching it and sort of scrutinizing it as like, does this really have the spirit of Spider-Man? Does this really hold a candle? Going in with that in mind lately, pretty tough. And the footage, they released a 2-minute clip in full HD. Looks kind of weird, man. It looks like, I think the best way to describe it is it looks like an episode of Superman and Lois. It looks like season 1, season 2, Superman and Lois. And I think that show looked good for a CW show. But this is a Disney Sony production. This is a huge, cost hundreds of millions of dollars to produce. I don't think it should be looking like that. I don't think the CGI looks good. Somebody compared it to Superman, James Gunn's Superman. And I thought that movie was all right. I didn't think it was life-changing, and I don't think that movie had a lot of staying power. And I don't know if I would put it... I don't think I'd put it in my top 5 comic book movies. Not even sure if it's in the top 10, to be honest. But I don't expect it to be bad. I don't expect it... None of the reviewers are basically saying it's a bad movie. Even the ones that are being pretty critical of it. It just seems to be kind of unremarkable. That's my, that's what I'm gauging. Yeah, not top 5 or top 10, yeah. And it's hard to break into that. We've had a lot of good superhero movies in these past 26 years, more or less. We've had a lot of good ones. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I think it might be all over the place with descaling. But I think that has a lot to do with Tom, that version of Spider-Man, the MCU Spider-Man's character arc, and how the different creatives kind of view his progression compared to the comics or the other movies, the other movie versions. I don't know. I've been really in the weeds on interviews and behind the scenes, watching all the behind the scenes making of for all these movies, for all the Spider-Man movies. So I have a very advanced opinion, I think. Batman 2, yeah, it keeps getting delayed. It's unfortunate. It's going to have to be a really amazing movie. It's going to have to be really, really great. I did see, I think In Snyder's his name. Naturally, he's like an insider in the media space. He said he would be surprised if Dick Grayson was not in part 2 in some manner. And that's really what I'm holding my breath on, to be honest. Because I don't doubt that it's going to be a competent movie. I don't doubt that it will probably be a great movie based on the first one. But I do think it could land a bit underwhelmingly because of the long build-up. Because the first one left such an impression. You're really going to have to do like a giant improvement or giant upgrade for people to feel like it was worth the wait. And for me personally, if there is a Grayson angle, then that could do it for me personally. That could take it over the edge. Seeing one of my favorite characters utilized in that universe. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it got delayed. There was a writer's strike during its development. Pattinson is busy with other stuff. I don't think that is an imposition too much on the Batman, though. I think it's honestly, they've just been working on a script for a long time. It's unfortunate, but that might just be the simplest of answers is there. They've just been trying to sharpen it up for all this time. And navigating the restructuring. Warner Brothers changed hands, basically, in DC, I think twice at least, between Batman 1 and 2. So it's kind of lucky that we're getting the movie at all. All things considered. Yo, what's up, Karsus? There's also the Batman, the DCU Batman, which seems to be all but confirmed who is cast. I don't know who the actor is. Never seen him in anything else, but it seems like it's basically been agreed that that's the guy that they have found their DCU Batman. And so the Pattinson, Matt Reeves movies also have to navigate that. They can the Wonder Woman game. Yeah, that is sad. It is super unfortunate. Could have been fun. But you never know, man. It could have been another Kill the Justice League or Gotham Knights, which, you know, glass half full was underwhelming. Kind of a bit undercooked. You never know. You almost have to think, if they released Kill the Justice League, how bad was the Wonder Woman game? How bad was that progressing? You know, it's one way to look at it. It's kind of like the Batgirl movie, right? Where you're like, man, considering the things that they deemed fit to release, maybe the Batgirl movie was just that bad. Reading Defenders and early Fantastic Four to understand. Okay. That's a daunting task, but I'm sure you can get a handle on it. Yeah, Spider-Verse is trucking along. I think there was an update, just a vague update from the Sony studio head at the red carpet. Yeah, you never know. I mean, I think they can honestly take their time with it. Because I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, when did Craven was the last one to come out, and they have like 5 over 5 years between movies to release a movie, you know? So Sony's chilling. Kill the Justice League was pretty bad. And I don't think it helped that it was just dead on arrival. They could have packaged it better. If it was Kill the Crime Syndicate or something, or I don't know. I don't know how they could have packaged it better in a way that would actually sell or that they would think would be financially viable. But I don't think anybody wanted to kill the Justice League, I'll be honest. I don't think that was anybody's on anyone's bingo card for a Rocksteady game. Yeah, it's not even franchises. I mean, they're just trilogies. You can't really call those franchises, right? A franchise is something like Jurassic Park or Terminator. The MCU, obviously. Yo, what's up, Gabe? How you doing? Star Wars is a franchise. The franchises I don't think can be counted on. I don't know if there is a single franchise that gets consistent releases, even like, I don't know, 5 years apart. I don't think there is a single one of those that guarantees quality. Yeah, I mean, if fans did not support these things to the extent that they do, then they would at least have to gesture towards pivoting and making better content. But the sad fact is a lot of people eat it up. You see the Resident Evil trailer? I did. I can't say I'm super excited for that movie. I think it's an interesting concept. Am I supposed to believe that big fat guy is like a T-virus monster? I don't know. What is that? What's going on here? Am I supposed to believe that, like, the bad guy from Dune is a T-virus strain that I've never seen before? Hanging in there? Well, keep hanging in there, man. We're all just doing our best. We're all just trying to stay afloat. Brand New Day will not be better than Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 3. But I've seen reviews that are pretty critical of Brand New Day. I would look at the Variety review. It's very high profile. New Rockstars is even a bit critical of it. Discussing Film on Twitter was critical of it. Andrew J. Salazar, that is. Pop Bass was critical of it. IndieWire did not have great things to say about it. I think it's going to be a totally disposable MCU movie, to be honest. I really don't enjoy any of the MCU Spider-Man movies, and I don't think Brand New Day is going to completely shed its skin and break the mold of an MCU Spider-Man movie. I don't think it's a completely different animal. I don't think it's capable of achieving that. But you never know. I haven't seen the film. Thank you for the 5, Kimimaro, Heroes and Stan. Very nice to start the donos. I'll be here all night. The Iron Boy Jr. trilogy, exactly. Thank you, Gabe. I am not a fan of those Resident Evil movies, no. People can make all the videos they want. I am in my lane. You guys are here to see me and see my opinions. Opinions are like, you know what. Everybody's got one. I try to be a cut above the rest with the research, with the articulation, with the editing. And I'm proud of the fan base that I have accumulated based on that. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily the direction that anybody was hoping for. I think when you say Resident Evil movie, you'd probably just want, I don't know, just do a faithful film adaptation of the first game, you know? First game, second game, whatever, but I think you could do a cool, like, Resident Evil 4 movie. You know? Just a guy with a gun trapped in a weird village with these monsters. And, you know, you can adapt the beats, you can try to make the action scenes feel like the gameplay. I mean, I don't think it would be that hard. Especially because I'm pretty sure, I mean, they made 1 million of those terrible Resident Evil movies, so clearly, I don't know, you'd think you just make a good one and you get even more money. I like to be optimistic about things, but I agree the MCU films are not nearly up to par. Yeah, absolutely. I will be breaking down every Spider-Man movie. That's something I'm working on in video form. After the new one comes out and there's been a little bit of time to digest it. That video will be out. And there are No Way Home has big problems. I don't think the MCU guys I don't think they're either capable of producing a faithful Spider-Man movie, and I don't think they're allowed to really either. I think both things are true. But we'll see. What's up, Hakaishin? I appreciate that. Yeah, the MCU is not very focused on comic accuracy. They gesture towards it, but what Raimi attempted and what he achieved is just a very different thing entirely. I think they're held back by the Sony deal, but I also think I don't know if it would look all that different if they weren't beholden by Sony. I think it's arguable that we get better content out of the deal than if Disney had total control. You know what I mean? You'll just have to wait and see. I'm still in the data collecting phase of my research. I have some pretty solid ideas. I feel like I've got a pretty clear insight into the inner workings of it, but when I get to scripting and all my ideas are on paper, I'll have a sound opinion. I'll structure all the information in chronological order. But I think it's something intrinsic. I think they have an intrinsic misunderstanding or misappropriation, or I guess maybe misapplication, if that's a word, of just the themes of the character that I don't think Sony is prohibiting them from understanding or applying correctly. But yeah, I think they just fundamentally misunderstand the character, or they're like incredibly reckless and careless with when writing the character, which I think that's also evident. Yeah, it's a good way to put it, Josie or Jose. It's unfortunate. It's been a lot of wasted time. The MCU Spider-Man, I mean, first appeared in Civil War in 2016, 2015, right? 2015. No Way Home was like 2022. I mean, it's a good while. That's a good while, and what do we have to show for it? I guess we got Toby back, so that's worth something, I suppose. Was it worth it to get Toby back for like half an hour? Far From Home is really cringe. I think the Russos... People say the Russos are like the guys to do Spider-Man. I don't think that's true, because recently they said that their version of the character was not responsible for Uncle Ben's death. So I think they also just don't get it. They're just huffing paint. But they certainly do have basically a different version of Spider-Man in their movies, because they considered Civil War to have skipped his origin, whereas the MCU Spider-Man trilogy itself, John Watts contextualized that as his origin. So you have two different narratives, basically conflicting narratives. And in Far From Home, it shows, because Peter's like, yeah, it was an accident. I don't really want to be a hero or whatever. And in Infinity War itself, Tony gives him multiple chances to leave or go back to Earth. He says, he activates the parachute on the Iron Spider. Peter stays. Peter climbs. Peter senses the spaceship, goes towards it in the first place. Then he follows Maw to the spaceship, climbs up it into orbit, stays there, stays on the ship despite Iron Man activating his parachute, and then tells Iron Man, I gotta be here because to defend, defending the Earth, universe, whatever. There's no neighborhood if I don't protect the planet, which the movie kind of undercuts as like a joke or some stupid nonsense. Makes sense to me. But then in Far From Home, Peter's like, yeah, I didn't really mean that. Like, I guess that's the intention. He said that was an accident. It was all an accident that he went out of his way to stay there. So, Far From Home, it's really all garbage. He's really just a cameo. Infinity Endgame kind of butchers it because I did not make Robin versus Rock Lee. Here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm thinking. I've explained this a few times. I'll explain it again. Advertisers, when they look at a channel, they look at the health of the channel. They measure whether or not they will grant sponsorships to channels based on their view count, their aggregate view count, right? So videos that don't do well on my channel, I unlist them, and then, but they're all backed up on the Discord. And the Discord server is a few dollars to get into, okay? So for a few dollars, you get access to basically a bunch of Discord exclusive videos. Thank you for the £5 in the first place. Now, what I've been thinking is once I hit 100K, I'll just unlist all those videos. Honestly, I'm thinking about that. That I might set it more as like a subscriber incentive as well. That's something I'm tossing around. Another option, honestly, if you donated a good chunk, because here's the thing too, is like if a video, all my videos roughly, they all take up a lot of work. They all take up a lot of time. I've never gone about half-assing a video. I've never gone about saying, oh, I'll only do this amount of research and spend this. I basically do every video I've ever done to the best of my ability each time. So they all cost really the same to me. And that is to say that I would prefer a video make a certain amount back. Like an actual successful video that gets views. I would rather all my videos meet that standard. So if you just donate that amount of money to essentially just make that video successful, then I'll just unlist it. If there's a particular video that you enjoy, if you donate like 200, 300, I'll just unlist it, because at that point it will be deemed a successful video. It might as well be as if the video got a good amount of views, to be honest. But yeah. Power scaling is subjective until I give my opinion. Ryan Gosling Ghost Rider will probably be a fun movie. They skipped Peter's backstory, but they really didn't, because they changed it. They did not show their version of Uncle Ben, but their version of Uncle Ben is not, like, they took for granted that people understood what that meant, but it's not, their version is not that version. The events are not similar. The version that they skipped is not similar to Raimi or even Tasm. Do you know any MCU power scalers on YouTube? Yeah, my videos, me. Probably true, Jose. Yeah, it's total LARP. They are. That is so disgusting. You're actually just a freak if you believe that about MC Spider-Man. Insomniac Spider-Man is good. The only exception I'm trying to see is an exceptionally large dono. I think we can make that happen. I think we can manage that. What's a video of mine that's unlisted? Let me look at what's my unlisted and unlisted video with the most views. Let's take a look at that. What in the shrimp? Okay. It looks like the Link video. The Tears of the Kingdom Link video. And then Godzilla versus the Multiverse. So if we do, let's just do this first. Let's start a poll. Not a poll. Let's do a goal here. Why not? Impossible? Oh, there it is. A goal. I don't know. Let's just do that. Let's just say 1. So there's the goal. And once it is, if that goal is met, then I will do a poll on which unlisted video gets relisted. How about that? Thank you for another 5, Blaze. It's really nice that OBS updated, so there's a whole new step to adding images. That's really cool. Would you say you changed your mind on the Arkham Batman ranking? A few changes in placement are exactly the same. I don't remember every detail of what I said in there, but I reserve the right to change my mind and to forget things as well. To find new information. I'm planning on doing a new Arkham video, or at least talking about Arkham Batman, probably when the Wolverine game comes out. So, and some new information that I found was in my most recent upload, the Snake versus Arkham video. You don't need to watch any of these garbage shows, man. I watched Daredevil Born Again Season 2, bro. Oh my goodness. Good golly gee. There are some okay moments. Some, the episode with the flashbacks was okay. But, holy goodness. Kingpin's little sidekick, every time he's on screen with Ben Urich's niece, it is unbearable. It is like the most skippable stuff in the world. I may very well do that, Status. I may very well do that. The Multiverse of Madness guys didn't even watch WandaVision. What's annoying about the show is they did the flashback episode, and it wasn't perfect, but they fairly competently emulated the look of the Netflix show, and I'm like, why couldn't all of the new show just look like that? Would that have been so bad? I've heard of that tool. I don't know if I trust it. Is the new season out? It's a shame. This is new BTAS. This is modern BTAS. What a joke. What an actual joke. Season 1 was totally forgettable and disposable and unremarkable in every way. I also just don't like... every period piece, everything that comes out that's set in a specific time or era or whatever based on something from a time or era, and they just make it feel more or less contemporary. It does not feel like the 40s or whatever. It doesn't feel like 40s Batman comics. It doesn't feel like the actual 40s. That's something that's very, very bothersome to me. I think it's unfortunate. It's been a while since I've needed a calc made from the ground up. Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be the 40s. It's supposed to be like Golden Age. The original Batman. BTAS was kind of supposed to be this weird... It's the 90s and the, like, 20s almost. Art Deco. Yeah, it's not super impressive. And a lot of the times they just do different for different sake. They, modern, especially with the comics, the comic adaptations in any medium, whatever studio it is, they're not confident in these characters. They feel like they have to do some spin. They always feel like they have to do some mark or it will get lost in the noise, you know? They think if they just did Batman straight up, let's just do Batman that everybody wants to see. They think if they did that, it would just get lost in the noise. It wouldn't stand out. Everything needs a gimmick or a twist. I have no idea. I'm not invested in that, Gabe. I'm sorry. See ya, Garces. Appreciate you stopping by. I'll probably be on for another hour and 20 or something. If you get back in time for that. Let's see about this year. If we did... Let's do this. Check out the poll. Which video would you rather have? And then I'm gonna set that to the dono goal for the stream. And I'll keep it up if I'll keep it going into the next streams if it doesn't get hit. And if I get like 100 total, I'll just consider the goal met. Maybe I should make it more than 100, to be honest. Because I definitely want to do at least a couple. I have one idea for sure. One thing I want to do for the Wolverine video. But versus Arkham Batman, that might be a little. That's probably going to be like a bonus. Yeah, I just want to see typical. I just want to see Batman. I just want to see. Straight up, just do it. Just do Batman. Don't make it 3D. Don't set it in some weird time era. But they're scared that they can't live up to what came before, so they change everything. And yeah, they're not confident in just playing it straight. Okay, so it seems pretty clear. Seems pretty clear that Insom Wolverine versus Arkham Batman, that's the goal to do. So we're gonna see you later, Peanut Murgler. So we're gonna do we're gonna set that as the goal now. And we'll say if 10 super chats make up, I'm not gonna be splitting hairs. Yo, what's up, T-Cause? Appreciate the dono. You know that if I cover something, it will be thoroughly combed. I'm not going to leave scaling just sort of left there unused and abandoned. Yeah, Spider-Man 94, like an animated series, that would be super sick. That would be super goated. See ya, Gabe. But yeah, definitely gonna do Insom Wolverine video. But if y'all want multiple ones, or at least this extra one, donos would be a big help in basically ensuring the video is successful, you know, in that sense. Because it's hard to say. I don't know if there's going to be a new Arkham Batman game to generate buzz anytime soon. I don't know what that is, Shadow. I'm sorry. I have no idea. Thank you all for having subscribed. Let's get to 80K. And then 90 and then 100. That is the goal. That is the most honorable goal I could set out here for myself. Honorable. Yeah. I looked at the prequel comic and I've looked at interviews, the PlayStation blog. So I'm a little dialed in with the Wolverine game. I think it'll be successful. But you never know. I might just need donos just to cover that game in general. Who knows if it's a flop. God of War Laufey as well. I think we all saw it coming that they're gonna make a proper Kratos game, but contingent on Laufey. Jean Grey Mystique section's not moving you? Oh, I'm moved. Consider me moved. Spider-Man 3 could be big, depending on how they market it. And if they prove that it's going to be a big leap, if it can recapture the novelty of the first game. And just not feel like a kind of crappy generic MCU movie with the plot. It just felt very much like how the MCU would use those characters and construct that storyline. And that was their intent. They were very openly inspired by the MCU, which used to mean something else. I don't think you're playing as anyone but Wolverine. I think Jean and Mystique are like running around as assists or something. I could be wrong, I don't know. Maybe I'm really not paying attention that much. You gotta see Carnage in some sense. You gotta see Carnage. Pretty good casting for Carnage as well in that game. Survival mode. Oh, was that in the leak? It's pretty crazy how long it takes to make games. That leak was pretty substantial. And we're only now nearing release. Well, they put the Tokon design from Spider-Man in Spider-Man 2. So that tracks. Collecting suits was super fun in the first game, in the first Spider-Man. That was so fun. That was such a good time. I've had no desire to replay Spider-Man 2. I replayed a little bit of the first game on PC with some mods. But even that, I'm like, I don't know, I just got my fill. I just got my fill when that game first released, and then when they put the Raimi suit in there, which, you know, the mods completely embarrass the official attempt. But yeah, even still, I'm not really an Avatar guy. I enjoyed the original series. It's very memorable. and I don't know, it's part of my childhood, but I'm really not like, that's not been like a persistent fandom I have partaken in. Yeah, there was a lot they stripped out of the second game. I'm not sure why. I think you'd at least just leave it in, even if not iterating on it. Yeah, no DLC either. All that got scrapped. The first game, pretty clearly the first game by a long shot. If you just mean all games, all Spider-Man games, my personal favorite Spider-Man game has always been Ultimate Spider-Man. I would just say that's my favorite. I really like that game a lot. I think that is absolutely a very classic, very fun game. Shadow Dimensions is great as well. It's a shame the license is all weird and tied up. I still have it on Steam though, because I bought it when it was available. Officially. Yeah, no, that game's great. It's a good, fun game. Any hope? I don't think so. I think Marvel, because Sony has a good amount of creative control and they have their own agendas for movies and animation and TV shows now. I don't know if Spider Noir, I don't know if that exactly would get a sequel. It seems like that went unnecessarily over budget with reshoots. But because they have their own agenda and they have the total creative control over even the Disney Spider-Man movies, I think Feige and Disney basically, they've looked at it and they've said, okay, Sony can veto, Sony has control over how we use their characters, essentially. And in order to sort of bypass that or circumvent that, they lean on what they have total control over, which of course Feige has total control over the MCU characters, the wider universe. Now, of course, X-Men mainly is what we're seeing. Presumably, you didn't hear it from me. They're leaning on in the new movie. They're basically using Spider-Man to be like a backdoor pilot for the X-Men. So I think that is one of their strategies here. because they don't really have control otherwise. Sony is not the reason, no. I don't want Disney. Disney sucks too, man. Nobody told the Russos to say that MCU Peter Parker is not responsible for Uncle Ben's death. And while Disney wanted to use the MCU to their advantage, nobody made them make Uncle Stark, I was gonna say. Nobody made them have Tony Stark play such a pivotal role in Peter Parker's life. And nobody really forced them to write this schizophrenic, back and forth, bizarre character arc, this bizarre back and forth, inconsistent, wishy-washy, non-committal, gives you whiplash. Nobody made them do that. Yeah, it's true. I think Spider-Verse is as good as it is, honestly, in a lot of ways, because and they said this in interviews. They're like, yeah, we had to do adult Peter because the MCU made it so they cornered the market on this very young Spider-Man. And so I think Spider-Verse, I think we get R.I. Peter, we get that particular version of the movie, which is very good. Into the Spider-Verse is great. I don't think we get that in a way without Disney. I think ultimately the grass is always greener. We can't say for sure. We'll just never know if Disney would do so much better if they didn't have Sony kind of having that veto power. We can't know. We'll never know. But we do get some good stuff. I think Disney, least of all, has provided that, unfortunately. I don't know how much. I'm going to rewatch this Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show as well, because it's good for the video I'm trying to work on, because it basically represents Disney Spider-Man with no Sony overhead, with no Sony creative control at all. And but what's weird about that is, again, and you kind of wonder, is it fair to blame that? I don't know. I think that show, they have enough creative control to do whatever they want. But again, they still had Uncle Ben in that continuity, in that timeline, in this MCU spin-off universe. They went out of their way again to be like, yeah, he's not responsible. Uncle Ben got sick and died or something. It's really, it's still a little bit non-specific and interpretive. It's not exactly definitive, but it seems to be something to that effect, that Peter was not responsible for Uncle Ben. Again, it's so simple and so pivotal to the Spider-Man character. And I just don't know why you would go out of your way to have it any other way, really. Makes no sense to me. Makes absolutely no sense to me. I'll never understand it. And it's a bit of a tragedy because we're sitting here holding the bag after all these years, and we're just hoping against hope that the new movie is competent. That the new movie feels traditional, that the new movie feels not only that, but just cohesive as a film in and of itself. Yeah, Spider-Man is not this perpetual child that I think Disney especially would want you to believe he is. I think it was like less than 30 issues in the Stan Lee era before he graduated high school. But Disney are charlatans. Disney are liars. Disney will just lie to your face. Kevin Feige especially will just lie to your face about what Spider-Man was created to be, why he was created under the circumstances, what he was meant to represent. They do that very, very liberally. Just very willy-nilly. Yeah. No, I agree. The best days of the MCU are behind us. And for Spider-Man, who was never particularly good in the MCU, I think that is tragic. I think that is tragic. Something that's kind of funny as well is the director of this Spider-Man movie. He did Shang-Chi, and he was going to do the Kang movie. He was going to do the Kang Avengers movie. But because Jonathan Majors went postal or whatever, that movie didn't happen, and then they pivoted to the Russos. And then Feige gave him Spider-Man, kind of seemingly out of like pity almost. Gave him Spider-Man. I think it's unfortunate. Yeah, you gotta do better, Senator. Total, once again, just disposable at best. At the nicest thing you can say about pretty much all of those Disney Plus shows is disposable at best. But like I have to say, as always, any power scaling, who would win, narrative analysis, if you just want to support the channel, any amount is appreciated. The more you donate, however, the more in-depth of an answer you will get. So I appreciate any support. Let's get some big donos. Let's try to hit a rainbow this stream. Let's try to hit a rainbow. Let's get an yellow on the screen, I think. Yellow next up would be good. Yeah, they just didn't have a plan after Endgame. It was very evident. Not really a Tekken fan, no. I like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, though. Yeah. And Ultimate Peter, there are plenty of young Peter Parker universes or comics that are way more mature and strike a much more relatable and realistic balance, and honestly just more true to the character than the MCU. It's really insulting. They're like, oh, well, he's a kid, so he's going to be this immature, hero-worshipping dork. Street Fighter power scaling. Wait for the movie to come out. I have been power scaling. I have been power scaling Street Fighter. Same with Mortal Kombat. Same with Mortal Kombat. It is no coincidence. It is no coincidence that I'm scaling of both of those series at the same time. What's up, Sergeant Anthony? You know what was funny is just before you arrived, I was thinking, wouldn't a yellow dono one step closer to a rainbow? Wouldn't that be something, huh? I think Brand New Day will be probably okay at best. Based on the reviews I've seen, based on the footage I've seen for myself, and having seen and analyzed and dissected all of these MCU Spider-Man movies up until now, interviews with Tom Holland, interviews with the director, mining leaks constantly, I think it'll be probably just fine. I really don't think it's going to be anything special. That's what my gut tells me. I would rather be wrong, but I think I'm pretty good at judging these things. Thank you for being a channel member for 21 months. That is crazy. That is absolutely nutty. Thank you so much for that. The channel members are, it's big news. That's a big deal. I very much appreciate it. A 7 out of 10, yeah, I think that's fair. Snyderverse might be, but it could also just be similar universes. It's also just canon to the multiverse. It's like, because Peacemaker's there, that doesn't really afford you any scaling from like Superman. I'm hoping to have a good time. Something that worries me is they are trying to add a layer to with great power comes great responsibility, to make it something about responsibility of self-care. You have to have self-care. And I just don't think the MCU understands great power, great responsibility based on No Way Home. It's like a totally different lesson, totally different context. And I don't just mean because it was Aunt May. I don't just mean, you know, because a goblin killed her and not you know, a gunman, a random gunman. I think the actual context of what they're trying to convince us is the Uncle Ben death, something equivalent to that. I don't think they understand what that means, or what makes that work, or it makes it make sense, really. So I don't think the MCU understands that, and so I don't trust them to then kind of redefine it or add another layer to it, you know? That really worries me. Even beyond where I'm already just like not really feeling it. Yeah, that's also true. That's a good point. I get that MCU Peter, I mean, bad stuff's happened to him, but like really we're telling this guy of all the Spider-Man to take care of yourself. And I just think, again, without having seen the movie, you look at Spider-Man 2, best movie ever. You look at Spider-Man 2, and the decision that Peter lands on is, yeah, I need to give up my dreams to do the right thing. Sometimes I have to do that. In order to be Spider-Man, in order to use my gift to help people, it means, yeah, you have to give up your dreams. And what happens at the end of the movie is MJ makes a choice of her own. She chooses her own truth, and she picks Peter and embraces a life with him. Obviously, there's complications in the next movie, but as far as Spider-Man 2 is concerned, that's the lesson of that movie, is you kind of do have to stoically embrace suffering. And good will come to you where it can, but you don't do the right thing because good things will happen to you. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and you can hope that life will turn around, that God or the universe will reward you in some sense, but it's not about reward. It's about the fact that with those abilities, he can save the most people as possible. If he were Spider-Man, when that building was burning down, that poor soul would not have been trapped on the 4th floor. That's the lesson. Exactly. I don't think the lesson, I just don't feel confident. I feel like you have to understand something first before even attempting to recontextualize or redefine it. Yeah, exactly. It's just everything is in those 3 movies. I think here's the sad fact of Spider-Man is that, and I don't think there are writers that would disagrei with you. I don't think Straczynski would agree with you or disagree. I don't think DeMatteis would disagree. Every Spider-Man story has kind of been operating in the shadow of those initial Lee Ditko stories. Everything stems from that. Everything. That is the heart and soul of the character, what Lee and Ditko did together. And over the years, they got Peter to a very different place. They got him where he was married, and MJ helped him overcome that guilt. If you read Parallel Lives, it's a story about MJ and Peter's trajectory, and then they're coming together. And at the end of the story, Peter says, I can't be with you because you could get hurt. He marries her, but then she's attacked because of him, because of her proximity to him. Of course, this is after Gwen and all that. And MJ says, have you ever thought that maybe Uncle Ben would have just died? Maybe it just happened. Maybe people just die. Things just happen and it's not your fault. And Peter embraces her. So, they took Spider-Man in different directions, but it was really all the core of it, the touchstone that they always went to. Every writer after that and since and going forward is the Lee Ditko era. And the Raimi films were so beholden to the Lee and Ditko era. They worked so hard to capture that essence and mine those issues for inspiration endlessly. And they drew from other sources. They drew from DeMatteis. They drew from the Venom saga, obviously. They would pull certain things from later storylines to flesh out the backstory of Mary Jane, the backstory of Doc Ock. But at its core, very beholden to the Lee Ditko era. And so, therefore, really the same extent that the Lee Ditko era casts a shadow, and that's the touchstone that everything draws from. Everything about Spider-Man is in the Raimi movies. Those 3 movies really cover everything, and it's kind of like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't think a 4th film was necessary. I think a trilogy is like perfect. You did it. I don't think the trilogy is perfect. I think Spider-Man 1 and 2 are pretty perfect. And I think Spider-Man 3 is great. But yeah. That all is to say, I think MCU Spider-Man is fundamentally broken. And I think you'd honestly need to do a complete reboot overhaul more than just people forgetting him. I think like his journey up till now, which they still want us to remember and consider, especially if you look at the promotional material, where like the latest trailer of the movie shows it's like building scenes chronologically of his journey. So they want us to remember that. They want us to have that internalized. And that's a problem. Because MCU Spider-Man fundamentally sucks. It's like a deep rot. It's an absolutely deep rot. What's not rot, though, would be a dono. Maybe a 10, maybe a 20. Just throwing ideas around there. EMH Spidey? I'm not sure. I haven't scaled EMH. Hypothetically, it's the same as Spectacular Spider-Man. I think everybody just likes to believe that, even though there's little evidence for it, but Tom does a good job in acting. I don't think Tom's a bad actor. I don't think that has much to do with it. I will say, I don't think I think he was cast aptly for a young, immature Spider-Man. And I don't see him really in adult Spider-Man stories, you know? I don't see him as like a John Romita Sr. Peter Parker, you know? I appreciate the dono, Pamba Jam. Thank you so much. I won't say spoilers. You can stay around. There's really not much to spoil at this rate. Movie's almost out, and honestly, I don't even know exactly what's gonna happen. I was peeping the leaks, you know, a week ago or whatever, but or you know, like not long ago. But honestly, I think they either just changed up the movie pretty considerably, or the leaks are fake. But what are you gonna do? Toby Spider-Man and current 616. I'm a little behind on 616, but I don't know, probably 616. Only MCU I'm seeing. I mean, that's all that's coming out for films, at least. There's not going to be any movies between Doomsday and Secret Wars. Spider-Man's nerfs. I figure, yeah, it would. Man, speaking of spoilers, that guy who just spoiled the Gene thing is crazy. What's up, Mandalorian Hunter? I'm doing well. What do you mean? I'm right here, bro. I'm right here. I'm right here. I've been talking for nearly 2 hours, bro. I'm right here. That's a good question, Charlie. Charlie, please pester them, please, man. I'm begging you. There's got to be something you can do. I'll be the judge of if he's nerfed or not. I'll be the judge of that. Don't worry. Don't worry. I hope they don't come back. They should have removed them. He should have had a new roster of characters that are comic accurate and expansive. That's a good point. That's a good point, Charlie. We do need a rainbow. We absolutely do need a rainbow. If the leaks are true, Toby's gonna go crazy in Doomsday. Or not even Doomsday, Secret Wars. In Secret Wars, Toby's gonna be like one of the heroes to beat Doom, it sounds like. Absolutely works for me. This Ned cannot be Hobgoblin. Does any real human being actually want to see that? That sounds like the worst thing I've ever seen. I could ever imagine. It's terrible. Who actually would want that? Toby will be in both. Toby will be a big deal in Secret Wars in particular. For anyone unaware, donation, super chats, or Cash App get you any question within reason answered. The more that's donated, the more in depth the answer will be. That's a good way to put it, Charlie. I'm gonna pin that for now. Let's pin that. I'm gonna just keep streaming until we get something good. Him not in the suit, but him being mind controlled and tricked into helping in some way. I just don't care about that. The actor can't... What would lead you to believe the actor can do that? He's going to be a threatening villain on a glider? Like, bruh. Hell no. And this Flash Thompson can't be Agent Venom either. Like, no, bro. These guys were cast to be children, to play immature children. And they were adults when that took place. You know, unfortunately, if you look like a high schooler when you're like 18, by the time you're 25 or whatever, or even 30, I mean, they just don't. Tom Holland doesn't look that different, I'll be honest. They all just still kind of look underdeveloped and childish. Oh, he break the glider, jeez. Maybe, though. Maybe. Yeah, no, they should have. If they're gonna be in it, I don't know, barely be in it. But I don't know, man. Give Spider-Man a little black cat. Give or Silk or something. Sydney Moon is technically in the MCU, and they just don't do anything with her in Homecoming, and instead the love interests just suck. The MCU Spider-Man love interests are garbage. You sent 10 on Cash App? Give me a second. Appreciate you, bro. Let me put you on the screen. Raimi MJ is a goated character, and this slander is the most smooth brain, copy pasta, regurgitated nonsense I've ever heard. And when people say that to me, it's just like a self-report that you are not capable of critical thought. I just don't actually think you can think of like a story or characters. I think that's just completely outside of the realm. Thank you for the 10. Put that on the screen. Man, this OBS update is garbage. For one power scaling question sponsor. Okay, so if anybody's got a power scaling question, Sergeant Anthony will has sponsored you for a $10 answer. The first two love interests Peter has in the comics is Betty Brant and yeah, Liz Allen. Liz Allen in the movies is totally different, and Betty Brant is not a love interest of Peter's. You guys are just morons. She did not cheat on Harry. She held Peter's hand, first of all. If that's cheating in any world, I don't know. I think Peter's a cheater for one of those movies. And also, you guys just don't know what you're talking about. You haven't read a comic book, you just don't know what you're talking about. The love triangle is a tried and true component of the Spider-Man comics, and also of just stories in general. I just feel like you guys haven't digested anything. Like, the only media that you've consumed are like TikToks that say, MJ sucks, I could never. I don't even think they're dating at that point. Also, she just got her life saved from a gang of rapists. Once again, like context is just, it just is gone. It just erodes. All context erodes. After Spider-Man had also saved her life from the Green Goblin earlier in the movie. And Harry is like a total fucking goober. Harry's not good for MJ. Do we care about what's good for MJ? Does anybody care about that? And who's rooting for John Jameson? Bro, how dare she disrespect my boy John Jameson? What's going on here? I don't think Paul is canon. They haven't named who that guy is in the trailer, so we have no idea. Peter makes out with Gwen on screen in front of everybody. The kiss. It's her and MJ's kiss, and the whole point of Spider-Man 3 is, for the first time in Peter's life, he's being praised, he's feeling success, and it is foreshadowed actually in the wrestling scene. When Peter gets that little taste of, oh, people love me, that immediately is followed by the original sin, by letting Uncle Ben's killer get away, by not stopping that guy that he could have stopped. So his pride is the prelude to his biggest mistakes, and so he makes out with Gwen and is neglecting MJ, and is also a murderer in the movie. He is an attempted murderer because he has this alien symbiote augmenting his hate and his rage. But like let's overlook that, because MJ went to hang out with Harry, who at this point now Harry is tending to her feelings, is not being manipulative. And despite that, as soon as she even somewhat gives into those emotions, she immediately feels guilty and cuts it off, because despite how poorly Peter is treating her, and the fact that he's a murderer that has completely closed her out, neglected her, is allowing his pride to not only publicly embarrass her in a sense, but also take something that was private and special between those two and put it out on the world stage and give it to another woman. Despite that, MJ is so loyal to him that she immediately feels disgusted and runs out of there. So it's absolutely foolish. Thoughts on Amazing Spider-Man movies? I'm gonna say it. Y'all are ready for it. Here's what happens is MCU Spider-Man is so bad that it's made y'all forget how bad the Amazing Spider-Man movies are. Okay. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 is just a sauceless, worse version of the first Raimi Spider-Man. And Amazing Spider-Man 2 is one of the worst movies ever. Okay? There are 10 seconds of cool swinging. Got it. But the story sucks, and he's not a good interpreter. That's a bad interpretation of Spider-Man. It's a bad interpretation of Spider-Man. Uncle Ben tackles a guy with a gun for no reason. The guy has chocolate milk in his hands, stole like a few bucks, tripped. Uncle Ben doesn't know that. Uncle Ben doesn't have the context. All Uncle Ben could have possibly heard is, hey, stop that guy, from some random dude in the street. And Uncle Ben decides to get into a fist fight with just some random guy with a gun. Okay? What that does is it makes Peter less responsible for Uncle Ben's death, which is the entire point. It's the entire point. It's the entire point of Spider-Man, of all of it, is that he is responsible. And then this whole, like, it's about his parents. His dad made the spiders with his blood so only he could get bit. It being as much about his parents and that being the focal point. Uncle Ben is only brought up one time verbally in the graduation scene, and then we see the back of his head in a flashback talking about the history of Peter's parents in the second movie. Uncle Ben is a complete non-factor in the second TASM movie. And that's really weird. It being about his parents is as bad as Tom being Iron Boy Jr. I'll just say it, okay? Uncle Ben is it. That's it, okay? You can't do these crazy... There have been times where Peter has been concerned about his parents in the comics, and I understand that. In 616, in the Ultimate Comics. But they went way too far with it. In the Ultimate Comics, Richard Parker designed the web shooters, or something like that. I forget the specifics. Peter says it reminds him of his dad. And he made the symbiote. But here's something that the first TASM and the Ultimate Comics, they converge on, which is the idea that when Peter investigates his father, when he looks for a father figure in anywhere but Uncle Ben, it creates a monster. Peter is sorrowful, longing, looking for this missing piece, which he believes to be Richard Parker, and it leads him to discover the decay rate algorithm, which leads to the creation of the lizard, which gets people killed. And that is something that Peter is responsible for, but it should have just been Uncle Ben. They just did not have to modify it and make it this weird, I'm going to fist fight this dude with a gun. And that ruins Peter. That is contingent on Peter's character. Uncle Ben, why he's Spider-Man, they change it to his parents, that ruins Peter Parker. TASM Peter Parker is not Peter Parker. I'm sorry. That's even beyond the skateboarding. That's even beyond this, like, he's an outcast by choice, even though the movie still gestures towards he has to listen to nerds to think about web swinging. And for people who say, oh, Andrew's so smart, he's so much smarter than Toby. Andrew did not create the web formula. He stole it from Oscorp. He did not think to, Gwen chastises him in the second movie. She's like, did you forget 8th grade science? In devising a way to counter Electro. That was not Peter who did that. Gwen did that. So he's really not that smart. He's really not. And, yeah, no, it is goated. That panel is goated. But there's something else I realized about TASM rewatching it recently. Oh yeah, so by TASM 2, that lesson that Peter learned, which is that when you investigate your father, when you investigate your parents, when you don't realize that it's Uncle Ben and it's right in front of you, that creates monsters. In TASM 2, they just immediately go back on that, because once again, it's all about his parents, and it's discovering his parents, and they keep pulling on that thread because Sony thought that was a unique way. They wanted to not do what was done to the Raimi movies. And unfortunately for them, the Raimi movies were probably the most pitch perfect comic adaptation of the character we're ever going to get. So every subsequent iteration of Spider-Man distinguishes itself further and further from that North Star. When really they should just play in that playground, honestly. TASM 1 should have just been a spiritual successor to Spider-Man 3. Just say some versions of those events happen, Peter is around that age, and we're just going to tell new stories. Do Lizard's his college professor, do something like that. Just do a new thing. That's what they should have done. But no, the TASM movies they're less creative. Lizard is just a worse version of Goblin. This whole he's talking to himself in the sewer. He considers himself a superior form of life. That's just a worse Goblin. Lizard in the comics has his family as an angle. His first appearance is about like his wife and his son. They're stricken by this grief of this accident that's befallen Kurt Connors, and you got to cure him. You got to protect his son from Lizard. They cut all those scenes of him talking to his son, but his son should have been way more important. His family should have been way more important, but instead he's just a worse Norman. He's just a worse Norman. He's just a worse Willem Dafoe. And TASM 2, I think, speaks for itself. TASM 2 is just garbage, man. People, again, they live in this very shallow, if it looks cool in a TikTok, I think it's cool. Nah, man, you don't get it. You have to watch the movies. You have to have a critical mind. And when it comes to a comic book character, you have to think, is this true to the source material? Does this actually get the essence of the character, or do they make these weird decisions that derail it? And I think with TASM, it's like, this is not Peter Parker. I believe we need a red dono for this to make up for the parents' plotline. I agree. I'm just going to keep streaming until we get a red dono. I'm going to just keep streaming. Phoenix plays that grammar is... I mean, I don't know if you... I don't know if you intended for that, but... Pama Jam, is the DCU experience on hold? Yeah, I'm just gonna focus on my lane. I'm gonna focus on dedicating all my energy to my channel. That's the way it's going now. And it's not even totally by choice. The Key Issues guys, they're more or less shut down. I'd like to see them. I would like to see them pick it up. I'm just fans of those guys. Even honestly, at the end of the day, I just like their content. But yeah, unfortunately, appreciate it for the 2. Appreciate the 2 though. Speak on TASM 2. Give me a fat dono and I'll go into TASM 2. I'll say whatever you want. I don't know, you know, just whatever. Couple of red donos. We got to remake the movie. Yeah, how much did Spider-Man Lotus cost? I can do better than that. I can do better than Spider-Man Lotus. What did that cost? 3 red donos? 4 red donos? I'll do it. Yeah, it is what it is, man. You know what they say, bro. Oh, let's start a podcast. You know what they say. You know how that goes. Let's start a podcast. You know how that goes. But yeah, 100% all hands on deck on this channel. The content's also not exciting. It's not exciting. The DCU, Supergirl, like, what is there to say about that? What is there to say about whatever? Like, nothing else has happened. How much could it cost to scale the Arrowverse and Arrowverse adjacent? Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe $1,000 to be honest, because there's so much goddamn content. There's so much content. Maybe $1,000, like, and that's Cash App. That's that. I need all that. Some people are saying that, sure. Some people are not saying that though. And I just don't. It's not possible to be better than Spider-Man 2. People need to realize that. You know, when Homecoming first came out, there were people saying it was better than Spider-Man 2. Now what are they saying? Now what is it? Every time we have this conversation, Spider-Man 2, one of the best superhero movies, maybe top 2, maybe the best superhero movie ever. And then we keep getting these like these claimers, these claims to the throne. Every once in a while, people say, "Oh, it's Infinity War. Oh, it's Civil War before Winter Soldier. Oh, it's Homecoming." All these things, no one's talking. Every time there's a new thing, people say, "Oh, it's better than Spider-Man 2." Why do you think that is? How come people aren't saying Brand New Day is better than Winter Soldier? How come no one's saying that? How come nobody's saying, "Oh, Brand New Day is better than Infinity War"? How come they're comparing it every time something like this happens? When the new best superhero movie It's always compared to Spider-Man 2. How is that? It's almost like it's remained the best. It's almost like it will, and always be the best, despite this recency bias. It's interesting. And it's interesting that a lot of people who are saying that were paid to see the movie, that Marvel paid for them to see it. That's interesting. And it's also interesting how when you look at this like movie discourse lately, for maybe the first 2 weeks, the movie's the best thing ever, and then people start saying, oh, that sucked. What's the No Way Home discourse? What's the opinion on No Way Home looking like? Now that the dust has settled, what's No Way Home? People love No Way Home. Me included. I love No Way Home. I ate it up. We got Toby back. Pumpkin Bomb, I'm in. Pumpkin Bomb, 93% Rotten Tomatoes. We got a Pumpkin Bomb on the screen. Just the prospect of someone turning into a straight up skeleton. I'm sitting pretty. But now what's No Way Home? What does everyone say about No Way Home? That it sucks on rewatch, that it's not that good, that it was a cash grab, that it's nostalgia, that it's like a sign of bad things to come for Doomsday and Deadpool, Wolverine, and all these things. How's the dust settled on that? Has No Way Home the top 10 superhero movie? I don't know. Debatable. You know what I'm saying? The new Spider-Man movie. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Would have smashed the pumpkin. Probably, yeah. If a pumpkin bomb just alone fell through a wormhole, he would just start hitting it with a hammer. In Homecoming, Peter fights these dudes who have these like dangerous alien weapons, and Tony Stark says, "Yeah, these are dangerous. Don't screw with these." And the next day, Tom in his like rec shop or whatever it's called, whatever. He's just hitting it with a hammer in his school, populated full of innocent children and teachers and stuff. He's just hitting it with a hammer. This super strength, not totally experienced, and there's no mastery of his powers. He's just hitting it with a hammer. And he gives it to his good buddy Ned. He says, "Ned, bring this on a trip." And another thing that's funny too, if you rewatch No Way Home, when Norman is put in the prison, when they're in the Undercroft and all the villains have been in prison, and Doctor Strange has been, left in the mirror dimension, Peter says, "Oh, it's too dangerous. I can't. Here's the box, but I can't bring you guys with me. It's too dangerous." Then Elektra says, "Yeah, if this goes south, I'm gonna kill you." Okay, what does Peter do next? He brings Aunt May and all the villains to Happy's apartment without telling Happy, which in Homecoming, that was a part of the plot, is Peter matures to let people know, because he didn't let Iron Man know what he was doing halfway through the movie. So he invites all these villains that he knows are like crazy and like have dual identities and like we're evil, they're villains, they're bad people. He brings Aunt May with him to this condo, presumably again full of just innocent people. I get that the fabricator's there. Can you just move the fabricator maybe? I don't know, man. Can you just move it to like some warehouse? Is that possible? This is the safest place. And you tell Ned and MJ it's too dangerous, but you tell Aunt May, hey, come along, and then we're supposed to be like, once again, is this Uncle Ben? This would be like if Toby or Comic Peter like knew that there was this gunman running around and was like, oh, I can fix the gunman. I'm gonna, Uncle Ben, tell the gunman what you say about great power. He'll listen. And then the gunman just like, nah, and just shoots Uncle Ben. And then Peter's like, no. That's what it is. And this whole crap, it's garbage. It doesn't make sense internally. And then to say that that's Uncle Ben, it does not lining up. It's not lining up. Yeah, we need to see the James Franco redemption. I don't know if all he did was that bad. I don't know, bro. Like, you're James Franco. Let's all be for real. You're like a handsome movie star and you're teaching acting classes and girls like you. I mean, I don't know. Was he Was he I don't know the full story. Was he pressuring them? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it really looks like for James Franco. I feel like most girls would just cave. Like, let's be for real. I'm gonna be just so for real. But that was a weird era. Let's not lie. Like Me Too, Phase 1 or whatever. That was a weird era. Or maybe Phase 2. I don't know. Uncle Ben gets a throwaway line in Homecoming. Not even really. In Homecoming, Aunt May's like, why are you so nervous lately? And it's like, maybe because it's been half a year since my uncle was killed, but we don't even know, was he killed? Maybe he just walked off. Tom Holland, despite being in the writer's room for Brand New Day, said that we don't know what happened to Uncle Ben. He just said he's not in the picture. He's in the writer's room. It's crazy. Do you think Peter with a shocker gauntlet? I need a dono to answer that. Somebody donate. Somebody donate. I'm just going to keep streaming until we get a red dono. Does anyone like Amazing Spider-Man 2 Harry? God, who would? I think it's good casting. I think he could have been a good Harry. I don't think it makes any sense for him to have been like Peter's friend. And I mean that kind of based on casting because Dane DeHaan is not charismatic in any way. Dane DeHaan is not charismatic or like cool or friendly. I love Chronicle. Chronicle is one of my favorite movies, and I empathize with Andrew a lot in that movie, Dane DeHaan's character. But I think Clayface could be good. It could be like a Joker 1 scenario. What's gonna be bothered to place? Yeah, exactly. May isn't buried on a plot. You know, there's no obvious plot. There's no obvious second grave. And I'll be for real, if Ben was dead, he would be next to May. And if he was next to May, Peter would certainly honor him when visiting her grave. So, I mean, we genuinely don't know what happened. I don't know. I don't know if he ran out or what. But I think he mattered very little to Peter. And I think it was like hurtful to May in like a normal level. Yeah, the Russo said he's not responsible. It's just crap. It's just crap. I won't blame Sony for that. I won't blame Sony for that. That's the Russos. Sony would never say, yeah, make him not responsible for Uncle Ben. Doesn't make sense. You didn't have to say that. And it completely colors the interpretation of the character. Even more damning. DCU Deathstroke. A Bane and Deathstroke movie does sound cool. Yeah. Chronicle was good for his career. Chronicle's a great movie. Chronicle might be for me like top 5 superhero movies technically. It's not a comic book. Why are they so allergic to Uncle Ben? I have a theory for that. That will be in my next video. But if you donate, I'll let you know now. Yeah. That deleted TASM 2 scene would have just been the stupidest garbage ever. It's his dad. I'm alive. It's really me. And then they like talk for 10 minutes. Or like that's so... I'm back in your life, Peter. Like what the hell is that? Yeah, that's true. It's done beautifully in Into the Spider-Verse. It's done. It's amazing. They reuse the audio. With great power comes great responsibility, telling it to a young Peter, and then he walks off into the light. It's amazing. And then, you know, Miles uses the motto against Peter B. And he's like fed up with it, doesn't want to hear it. It's amazing. It's really good. Almost had Flash Thompson as Deathstroke. We did get him. He was in a movie. That did happen. That did happen. That was a thing. Yeah, I mean, there is that. Joker did not have Batman, to be fair. We had little Bruce Wayne. So it's possible to get something out of it. You don't need Batman in one of these movies. Please, bro. Pink or red, don't know. I think I'm just spitting bars. That's exactly true, Irving. It's exactly true. And again, it's like, I understand MCU Spider-Man is so bad that we're like begging for Andrew, but I gotta be real. I gotta just level. I gotta say it how it is. If you really see it, if you really think about it, if you really dissect it, and you know what you're talking about, you know the truth of Spider-Man, then yeah. Yeah. Ezra Miller was awful casting, no matter what happened in Arrowverse. Grant Gustin was a great Flash. Certainly better than Ezra. I don't know. I know plenty about... I like Barry Allen well enough. The Arrowverse is just its own thing. Tobyverse is similar to the comics, then Flash Def enlisted in the army. We see him in Spider-Man 3. He's at Harry's funeral, which is pretty interesting continuity. Kind of nice, really. Kind of nice little arc, like off-screen, which again resembles the comics because Flash in the comics does get like a he does eventually respect Peter, you know. He does kind of drop his bullying ways. So I don't know if maybe he was like between deployments or something, if you want to headcanon it. Yeah, I mean, the less we say about DCEU, honestly, anything, the better. I'm not gonna lie. Flash and Harry were friends first before the first Raimi film, but after who's Peter's friend first? Flash and Harry were friends first before the first Raimi film? What do you mean? Do you think they were friends? Flash and Harry were friends first before... Did I miss that? Is this some hidden Raimi lore that not even I'm not aware of? Is this the most hidden Raimi lore? Where'd all these guys come from? Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. Brand New Day. They should do Spider-Man Last Day on Earth and just end it. Yeah, Harry was bullied. Or your father will fire my father. Oh, I see. You mean before the Raimi movie is in media. Last Stand at Home. A Last Stand movie with Toby would be sick, dog. Toby fighting all those cops? That'd be sick, bro. Toby in that suit? The jacket? That'd be goated. The Last Stand suit that's tough. I'm at the end of my ropes. Goes down swinging. That is so tough. Ben not home. I did not. I did not see that. He'll be in the classic suit in Doomsday, I'm fairly certain. Yeah. Homecoming, he's back at Marvel. Yeah, that also inconvenienced Uncle Ben. Like, I think they were either at risk of getting sued, something like that. Just want to remind you guys of the pinned comment here. Donations get you any question within reason answered. The more that's donated, the more in-depth the answer will be. Nah, the Last Stand suit is tough because, in large part, because it's a bad future. Did you see the new Lanterns trailer? I think so. I'm just so wary of that. I just do Hal Jordan justice, man. Just do him justice. That's all I'm wanting to see. The new Dono trailer? True. Someone still has a power scaling question sponsored by me. Okay, the next power scaling question I see, you get a $10 answer, $10 level answer. The next one I see. Hal is the best Green Lantern, technically, but Kyle is my favorite, and he's the White Lantern, so he's more powerful. How strong is Bonesaw? He would definitely tear Flash Thompson in half. My predictions for Toby scaling, he'll at least be like a top tier, depending on... We know that like Tom Holland and like presumably Steve Rogers, Cap, maybe some Hulk, whatever. They all pull up to Doom at the end and Doom lays them all out. But the three that get back up and fights still is Toby, Iron Man, and Wolverine. So more than likely Toby's just going to be a top tier. And he's going to be fighting to save like his reality, all reality. So we're going to see all the heroes are going to be like really going at it, pushed to the limit. Full power. He's not just here to cure these crazy people that he regrets their deaths. Yeah, bro, if he hits him with that, it's crazy, the power of Toby. Toby said that, and like nobody, we just whatever. It's cool. They did a sizzle reel at Comic-Con for Doomsday where it was just like it was a edit of previous movies, and then it cut to No Way Home where Toby, finishes comes great responsibility, and people lost their minds, bro. They're cheering. They cheered for him and they cheered for Hugh Jackman. the loudest of those. So, Deuces, you are like insane. If Marvel makes a good story, like let's say they have written the plot is done, they say this is the best version of it. Are they going to make the movie worse just because people know? Most people are not chronically online in the subreddit on Twitter browsing for leaks. They just aren't. It's not that big a deal. Toby could cure Doom's insanity. It's true. Just prick him a bit with that gobby form, that gobby cure. Please, let's see some donuts materialize. That would be pretty cool. I think that would be epic. I'll just keep it going. There's nonstop cope. And I will go to war with them with full force. They will not survive the winter. The cold winter. They are not built to survive. If y'all love Toby, yeah, donate 100. Where's all the love for Toby? If you love Toby, donate 100 because you will not be unsatisfied with my future uploads. I think Charlie knows what he's talking about in that department. Let's see it happen, gang. Cope won't ever end. It's sad watching it. What's so funny, man, is like, I think I really made myself laugh. I just picked like the worst Spider-Man comics. So I was like, yeah, this is Tom's comic accurate to this. He's comic accurate to like Zeb Wells and gosh, what's the horrible one? Sins Past, and yeah, he's comic accurate to that. You could have that one. Truthfully though, it is like, okay, you got like these little baby, I'm sure there were little baby garbage Spider-Man comics that you can say, oh, the MCU's comic accurate to that. I just don't even know what it's like. I don't see it at all, honestly. I don't see Tom Holland as comic accurate Spider-Man in the least. So I don't even know, actually. I think there are plenty of, like, even Marvel's Adventures, like the all ages Spider-Man in the 2000s when he was a kid. You know, he was like 15 all throughout that or whatever in high school. It's better. Tom's nothing like that. Tom is nothing like that, and I'll double down, bro. Deuces, I need $100 dono from you immediately. Is more confirmation needed for Blue Beetle scaling? No, there was never confirmation needed. People were just coping. They just didn't want to hear it. They just didn't want to think about it. They didn't want to consider it, didn't like it. Well, I don't like it. That's what it comes down to. Every time. If there's some just smooth brain. Smooth brain scaling take, if they're really arguing, they just don't like it. They just don't want that to be the case. People don't want Toby to be the GOAT, but he is. As an example. Tom is accurate. Let me see. Baby Spider-Man comic. Let's see if there's just like a very like childish. What's the most childish? Spider Baby Earth 23492. Spider-Man is Amazing Friends. Let's, I'll say that came out before, or that came out after MC Spider-Man started, I think. So what's the most like juvenile? Let's see, like very young kid Spider-Man comic. There's got to be some kind of actual little baby Spider-Man. First 100 dono, preferably Cash App, gets the biggest space on the screen to be shown and any question answered. That's true. I'll go nuts. I'll go absolutely nuts. You'll get like a video almost. A whole video in this stream if 100's donated. Play a game? I'll play a game. You guys want to see me play a game? Yeah, Blue Beetle applying to the Snyderverse. That was just never the case. That was just never the case. Spider-Man comic for a 5-year-old. Here we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. Spider-Man, a Mighty Marvel team up. Let's take a look here. Oh yeah, now we're talking. I haven't been gaming lately. When did this come out? When did this come out? Ah, this is published after. I don't think Spidey's upgrade's gonna account for much. Based on what I've seen of what happens in the plot and clips that I've seen. Honestly, it seems like a throwaway plot point. It's like just not a big deal. I'm ready to read with Spider-Man. Yeah, that's probably it. Honestly, I don't even know. It's probably too comic accurate. I think Tom Spider-Man might only be comic accurate insofar as they, after those movies came out, they made comics to kind of align with that tone. I think that's it. I think that's as much as we're gonna get with that one. Superhero Squad, maybe. Something like that. Just some very juvenile 4-6-year-olds. Maybe the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. You want to join the Discord? Yes, you have to become a channel member by clicking the link in the description. Once you have done that, let me know. Hope to see you in the server soon. I'm ending the stream soon if I don't get a huge dono. Just saying. I might just be saying. Toby changed comics for a long time with his organic webs. Tom had no effect on comics. That's true. They really haven't tried to make comic Spider-Man anything like MCU. They'd have to de-age him or something. I clicked the link, it didn't take me anywhere? That's insane. What do you mean it didn't take you anywhere? You're not a channel member? Looks like it works for me. Try it on your phone, and if it's not working on your phone, then try it on a computer. No, it's the Manhunters, but yeah, I don't know why they can shapeshift. I'm kind of tired of the shapeshifting thing. We had Peacemaker Season 1. We had Secret Invasion. Do we have a... I don't know. Green Lantern should fight aliens, but do we have to do... Does it have to be they're shapeshifting every time? Always body snatchers. Yeah, try it on your phone or try it on your computer. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. Click the join button on the stream. That's also possible, yeah. The join button could work. See, I don't see all these features because, of course, I am logged into my own account. So I have the link in the description to just kind of safely cover it. Cover all avenues, cover all angles. But the join button, that sounds like a good idea. Greetings from South Korea, W. What's the conversion rate on the monies in South Korea to America? Just curious. And it would be nice to get like a living like proof, like example of that, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? South Korea sounds cool. Maybe I'll visit. Maybe I'll visit one day. Maybe I'll absolutely visit one day. This guy's lost. I don't know what to tell you, bro. And trust me, I would want nothing more than to get you in there. I bet it's nice. I bet it is very cool. The power increase the MCU spider suit gave Tom. How much would it be? Could be astronomical. But I'll need a dono to go into further detail. Yeah, it's a big dono question. Charlie caught that too. Power scaling, that's my job, so it's gonna need a big dono. You know what I mean? I think we should get that going. Oh, a bit of a $2 dono. You know, twos can add up. They certainly can. I appreciate you. Smartest live action Spider-Man? God dang Tobey Maguire, bruh. It's definitely not Andrew. And Tom's been carried by, first of all, Tony Stark tech in general, but also just MCU tech. Like now he's got like this like gamer chair set up. He's got a 3D printer making him stuff in the new movie. Toby was a super genius. Toby had a conversation with Otto Octavius. All Toby could do was read books and go to college, and Toby correctly pointed out the flaws in Otto's nuclear fusion device perpetual energy reactor. Otto messes it up. Otto miscalculated. Super smart, mega genius. And when he messes up, he says Peter was right. Osborn considers Peter impressive. He thinks of the weaknesses for like Venom in the final fight. So it's obviously Toby. Andrew didn't make his own web formula even, bro. Andrew didn't even think to magnetize his web shooters against Electro, which was apparently 8th grade science and obvious to Gwen Stacy. So, really nothing to say other than that. Also, officially, Toby is the wisest and most experienced compared to the other two Spider-Men, so all adds up. IMHO. And there was never any doubt, really. Maguire's the GOAT. At least to Spider-Man. I'd certainly go as far and then some to say that his Spider-Man is the GOAT. And I just can't get enough of it. Toby is going to hold off Doom with the help of Iron Man and Wolverine long enough for Loki to get his powers back after every other hero is just laid out by Doom. I'd rather meet Toby. Toby Spider-Man is just, that's my hero, bro. I love Darth Vader, don't get me wrong, but I really feel like Toby is more important to me than James Earl Jones. Hayden Christensen, that would be a huge deal. That's like a Toby tier deal, because Anakin's also my hero. He's also one of my heroes. He better not put dirt in my eye or I'm gonna have to get hostile. He thinks he's seen a bully. He thinks he knows. I will show him a bully. I will absolutely show him a bully. If Doom puts dirt in my eyes, or Toby will put dirt in Doom's eyes? Yeah, I think Toby will put dirt in Doom's eyes. Toby does not mess with it. He's not mess with people intruding on him in any way. He's not like people taking pictures of him. Toby's an interesting guy. Yeah. The gambling. Gambling's pretty degenerate, I will say. But if you can make a lot of money, I mean, whatever, I guess. I wonder how soon after No Way Home, how soon after him securing the bag, did he start gambling? Gamble all that money. He's like, man, I'm gonna turn this 10 million into 50 million. I obviously disagree. I obviously disagree that it was rushed and poorly acted. Isn't that not obvious? I think that's obvious, bro. Anakin is peak. Anakin is actually peak. Here's a fact for you. Anakin is peak. I bet Toby would donate. I think so too. I think Toby would. I think Toby would. I think his real fans would. I think good people would. If you're a good person, I think you would do that. I think all the people who have donated are good people. Thank you. Speaking of, thank you for the 5 pocket. How strong is Wind Waker Link? What's interesting about Wind Waker Link is, unfortunately, I think he's actually one of the weaker versions. Because even when the Master Sword... I don't know what's going on there. Even when the Master Sword is fully restored, Ganon bullies him, and it's only after the King of Hyrule wishes on the Triforce for Link and Zelda to have a future, does Link win against Ganon. And that's base Ganon. That's not Ganondorf. And well, yeah, it's base Ganondorf. It's not Ganon. It's not his like full power pig form or whatever. And Ganondorf isn't even trying to kill them. He doesn't want to kill Link and Zelda. He's not impassioned about that. He just wants to bring back his people, his culture, his civilization. So I think he's unfortunately pretty low in the totem pole, just based on feats. But Ganon, I mean, even if he somewhat scales to him, I think the like moving the moon very fast, or there's something to do with the constellations, like the moon. Ganon's magic like keeps the moon in place or something. I want to say that that's like moon level or planet level based on a calc. I could check right now, actually. Wind Waker Link, maybe. Let me see here. He's at least island level because he created a storm. Yeah, I don't know. At least island level, we can go with that. If the sun actually spawned in the palm of his hand, that would be very scary. That would be downright terrifying. But yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. If you want to say that like Wind Waker Zelda, when she's awakened, she's at least as powerful as Skyward Sword Zelda, then, you know, she's probably like Universal or something. In Liquid Scale. Because Ganon just bullies that Zelda. But seemingly at least island by feats. And unfortunately kind of protected. Rosie, Rosie, ah! Facts. Facts. Absolute fact. Oh my word. Rosie. Oh my goodness. The power of the sun in my Yeah, that'd be terrifying. Yeah, Toby really did he just stared a sun in the face. I mean, I don't know. He just made like a star. Made like a nuclear ball that was pulling in every metal. The power of the dono. It's a good point. Man, I miss Villo, bro. Villo was so cool. Villo was such a G. Villo did it better than a lot of other people. Frankly, some are saying all people. Gotta summon Villo. Oh my gosh, LOL. Hero of Time game. Hero of Time game for sure. At this point, I would love a Spider-Man 4, okay? If it was Raimi, if all the ingredients were there. But to be honest, I would be really excited, but I would also be very terrified because I treasure those movies, and I wouldn't want there to be a fourth one that isn't peak, that isn't amazing, that isn't stellar. You know what I'm saying? And Vader, modern Disney just sucks garbage. Star Wars is trash. Star Wars is dead. And there's already so much Vader content. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need infinite everything all the time. Yeah, let's get something big for Toby. Let's get something big for Toby here. It'd have to be spectacular, ultimate, amazing. Spectacular, spectacular. Can I get a guarantee from somebody that if I hit the 3-hour mark, there will be 100 waiting for me? Any question you guys want? Any who would win? Anything. Whatever you guys are feeling. Tom is getting obliterated. Tom is a joke. Tom is a punk. Tom is a weakling. And he sucks. Bend the knee, kiss the ring. Sorry, buddy, that's the way it is. You're not going to be able to match it. It's not going to happen. There is one number one, and it is not Iron Boy Jr. He can't run from Iron Boy. Iron Boy is what he is, what he always will be. There's no running away. They need to reboot. They need to utterly retcon for there to be any hope. I'm super sorry. I'm super sorry to break it to you if this isn't something you've already digested and internalized. But Tom sucks and he gets his ass beat. That's how it goes. Have you been made aware of this? Is this a big surprise? Who in your life neglected you so that you aren't already acutely aware of this? Yeah. Y'all know what's crazy, bro? Kevin Feige said that all of Tom Holland's career, all of his Spider-Man stories, are within, they're just equal to the first act of this first Sam Raimi movie. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane? Just fits in the first act. John Watts said it's just the first issue. That all of MCU Spider-Man fits within the first issue, the first appearance of Spider-Man, the Amazing Fantasy origin. Isn't that insane? Tom didn't even really beat Tobey's first villain. Tobey's first villain wanted to die. He wanted Tom to kill him, and Tom couldn't even do it. Tom couldn't even kill him. Tom needed to grab the glider to kill him. He couldn't just beat him to death. That wasn't what he was doing there. Couldn't make that happen. Even after all the hits. Even after all the hits at the final fight. Throwing Goblin around. Goblin still got his licks in, and he was laughing, not bloodied up, begging for more by the end. Tom Holland fans are they're a sick group of people. Ignorant and a sick. An ignorant sickness. And it's going to take a lot of elbow grease to address that. I'm going to have to really do my part. But it all starts with a dono. Exactly. Toby beat Goblin in the burning building so bad that Goblin was like, he's all but invincible, and the only way to win is to make this guy suicidal by killing his family. That's it. He didn't. Toby wasn't enraged. He wasn't using willpower. He wasn't going crazy. In fact, it stated he was barely injured. That little cut on his arm, that's all that he got. Barely injured, officially. In a fight where he beat Goblin so bad that Goblin said he's all but invincible, Toby was barely injured. There's no debate. There's actually no debate. There's just no debate. Tom sucks. Anything Tom does, Toby just upscales by like a insane margin. Yeah, it's just obvious. If you use your head. It's obvious if you just use your head. And sad when, you know, something is seen to the contrary. It actually is sad. I'm just like sad for you. I just feel bad if you're not locked in enough. And Tom doesn't even deserve to lay a hand on Ramy Goblin. Let's be so for real. This irresponsible clown. Irresponsible, non-hero, no origin story having clown. Exactly. Exactly. Venom can be choking Toby out. Sandman can be trying to kill him. Giant form bashing him over and over. Two villains each stronger than Ock. Toby just gets up. Sam Raimi said that Ock would murder Goblin. You would just kill him in a fight. No, it's not the last Tom movie. Tasm Lizard would probably kill him. Tasm Lizard was beating the hell out of him in the final fight of No Way Home. To be honest. What's up, Seeing Red? What you got for me, bro? Didn't you say something about having a big dono? Wasn't that on the table? I remember you saying something like that. Exactly, exactly. Do me a solid, bro. Seeing Red. I've been streaming for like 3 hours. This is one of my longer streams. Do me a solid. Put something good out here in the world. I think I'm good for it, bro. I won't let you down. I won't disappoint. I won't disappoint. Shaking my head. Shaking my head. Shaking my noggin. Shaking my noodle. It is what it is, bro. Rarely see Charlie on screen. Seeing Red's kind of turning it on Charlie here. He's saying, why hasn't Charlie donated? Huh. I hadn't considered that. I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. That is interesting. There's some leaked scenes of Brand New Day online. Gonna be peeping that Sharsh. Well, with all that said, gang, nice little stream. Thanks everybody for donating. Thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate all the support. But with that said, I will see you all next time.